home run total is down when you look at the new field, but don't worry about that. Look at that average against the Cardinals. Maybe it's singles, doubles, and he can hit an occasional home run, but he is a legitimate player, one of the best players in the National League.
Now, if you're Jerry Manuel, Omar Minaya, you're on the hot seat all the time. It's New York, and they're not winning. They're coming off a disappointing year. How about just trying to play through those expectations? And, of course, the Yankees won the World Series just a year ago.
Yeah, it's always a battle for who gets the back page in the New York papers. And as you said, Jerry Manuel a little bit under the microscope, but really he has to have the health of his players. He did not have that last year. Beltran is still out. He'll be out another month, and at least he has Reyes back. So he's hoping that they'll start making some good things happen.
So the tarp is off the field, and we hope we have baseball here tonight. And our starters are Oliver Perez, the lefty, and Chris Carpenter, who has been terrific here at home. We'll just tell you how good it's been since 2006 next. Game one of a three-game set between the Mets and the Cards. Oliver Perez gets the start, the lefty for New York. And for the Cardinals, it will be one of their aces, Chris Carpenter, a 2.19 ERA, lowest ERA at home since 2006. Adam Wainwright also in the top four, Al, but Carpenter obviously one of the best in the business.
And Chris Carpenter pitched very well on the road in Cincinnati. He struggled when he was in Milwaukee. And maybe if we can show some of his pitches from previous years, watch how he keeps the ball down and how tight the rotation is on the breaking ball. We did not see that in Milwaukee when he gave up 3 home runs. He's already given up 5 home runs this season and 7 all last year.
When we come back, we'll take you back to 2009 and the greatest hits, the top 5 moments. That's next on Fox Sports Midwest. Welcome back to Busch Stadium. It's the Cardinals and the Mets just around the corner here on Fox Sports Midwest. Let's take you back to 2009, the year the Cardinals won the Central, and some of the top moments that we saw. Number 5, Chris Carpenter had to wait 898 days, but the wait finally ended. Taking a no-hit bid into the 7th, he picked up his first win since Game 3 of the 2006 World Series. Of course, he almost won the Cy Young Award. Albert Pujols showed there's no I in team, and there's no I in Big Mac land either. Off of Sean Marshall, Pujols knocked the I out of Big Mac land. The home run helped the Cardinals sweep the Cubs right here in St. Louis. Speaking of Albert, he had one of the more memorable home runs of the season, a grand slam. His 4th of 2009. That set a Cardinals record. It's also the 10th grand slam of his career. That's the franchise record previously held by Stan the Man. Matt Holliday picked up, and he didn't waste any time after the trade. He made a difference for the Redbirds. This was in Philadelphia. In his first game as a Cardinal, he helped St. Louis to an 8-1 win over the Phillies. He went 4 for 5 with a run and an RBI, and now he's been locked up long-term for St. Louis. And number 1, behind Adam Wainwright's 11 strikeouts over 8 innings, and Jason LaRue's go-ahead homer in the 7th, the Cardinals clinched their 4th National League Central title in 6 years. They beat Colorado. The final was 6-3, and Wainwright and the club was ready to celebrate. Those are the top 5 moments of 2009. You know Tony and the Cards would love to celebrate here in 2010. They'll face off with the Mets when we come back. Chris Carpenter fell 6 points shy of his second National League Cy Young Award. This season, his ERA is barely below 6, and he's already allowed 5 home runs in his first 2 games. The Cardinals ace hopes to turn things around. The Redbird Bats look to support their starter against the Mets. It's St. Louis and New York, next on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on this Friday night is brought to you by Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's expert auto service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Crowd is still filing in. It's a fireworks night, the opening of Kids Weekend, giveaways tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. And there's a look at Jerry Manuel. And let's take a look at his lineup with Jose Reyes, Luis Castillo, and David Wright. Then Bay, Jacobs, Francoeur, Barajas, Matthews, and Perez. So Jose Reyes healthy enough to play, and here we go. He's a switch hitter. And there's shortstop, who is hitting .261. And there's a look at our Marshall Wireless starter. That's Chris Carpenter, making his 3rd start of the year.
Well, he's 1-0. He beat Cincinnati. Then he was roughed up by Milwaukee. His teammates, with that miraculous come from behind, got him off the hook. And eventually lost last Sunday. But that's a real key right there. Let's see if Carpenter can't keep the ball down and out of the middle of the strike zone and have a little more sharpness on his breaking pitches.
Reyes dealt with a thyroid issue in spring training. And, of course, he missed the better part of last season along with a number of his teammates. And there was talk that he would drop down to the 3rd spot in the lineup starting tonight. But that's not the case. David Wright is still there. 2 balls and 1 strike.
You know, Dan, I think one of the things is Jerry Manuel saying, let's see if he can get comfortable before they move him to the 3rd spot. But, you know, I'm not too sure he's really buying into that.
2-1 pitch. Pujols is there. Race to the bag. Carpenter steps on first for the first out. That ball gets past Albert Pujols. That could be a triple with the speed of Reyes.
No doubt.
Let's take a look at the Cardinals defense. It is a different lineup with Alan Craig in left, Mather in center, and Ludwig in right. Then Freese, Ryan, Lopez, and Pujols along the infield. And the battery tonight is Carpenter and Molina. So the Cardinals will have 3 left-handed bats coming off their bench tonight.
Well, you see him going towards the line. Very quick underhand throw to Carpenter covering. And you're right, Dan. If that ball gets by Albert, it's a sure triple with Reyes' speed. So a nice play. And that's what Carpenter needs.
Exmo Cam brought to you by Plaza Tire Service. And here's another switch hitter. Luis Castillo spent 10 years with the Marlins, a couple of years with Minnesota, and now here with the Mets. There's that breaking ball. That was sharp, and it's popped up. Backing up, Brendan Ryan. 2 away.
That's another reason why they can move Reyes down, is you got another leadoff man in Castillo. And then they're kind of saying, hey, you know, you look like Hanley Ramirez. You could be that same type of player, telling Reyes. But I'm not sure he has legitimate power that Hanley Ramirez has, and you may mess him up.
Another factor that goes into that, too, is Angel Pagan. They like what he's done so far, and he's a switch hitter on their bench tonight. But he can play center field, and instead of Pagan, it's Gary Matthews Jr., who's off to a slow start at 176. And here's David Wright. They need David Wright to be the guy that he was prior to last year.
Well, even last year, he was outstanding against the Cardinals, but very few home runs.
Pulls that foul. He's got 3 home runs this year and 6 RBIs. He wound up with only 72 RBIs last season. They felt he got way too pull conscious in that big ballpark of Citi Field, where they have made a couple of adjustments. We'll talk about that as this broadcast goes along.
So just to give you an idea, David Wright, as you said, has hit 3 home runs in his 23rd at bat. Last year, his 3rd home run came in his 100th at bat.
Struck out a lot last year, too. Career high, 140 times.
We were talking about how many times Erasmus has walked. Well, here's the National League leader in walks now, and David Wright. He has 13 to lead the major leagues.
And the count here, 3 balls, 1 strike. There's Rasmus with the night off, at least initially. Ooh, he just missed, and Carpenter spun away, upset that he did not get the call on the outside corner, and it's a 2-out walk, and it brings in Jason Bay, their big free agent signing.
Carpenter threw that ball exactly where he wanted it. and didn't get the call.
So here's Jason Bay, who was talking in New York that the Mets might get into the Matt Holliday sweepstakes. That was not the case. Cardinals, of course, wound up re-signing the big slugger who was out tonight. And Bay, no home runs and only 2 RBIs so far after a terrific year in Boston a season ago.
He's hit in 8 of the 9 games to start the season, but as you said, no home runs, only 2 RBIs. They need a lot more production.
They say they want production. You want to see the power numbers, but Mets folks will tell you that you see a very deep center field there by Joe Mather, but the table setters aren't getting on in front of these guys to get those RBI totals up. That's going to reach the seats and get out of play. Get off to a slow start after signing a free agent deal. It'd be a tough place to do it, like New York.
They've run a few people out of town, haven't they?
Mm-hmm.
A year ago, 345, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs at this time. And here you see 265, no home runs, 2 RBIs. So it'd be a great place to play and a tough place to play.
Here's a 1-2. Now, Bay was a guy that they went after and targeted early on. And another one that surprised many folks around baseball that he didn't wind up with the Mets, Joel Pinheiro. And he wound up, of course, signing with the Angels. You see his numbers against Carpenter, just 2 for 26.
That's because Carpenter faced him, another Central Division foe, where Carpenter really got off the hook last time. He's still, what, 12-0 against Central Division teams?
Slowly hit to the right side. Pats Lopez took an odd angle at that and into right for a base hit. So first and third with 2 outs.
Like a little miscommunication there, as I think Lopez so used to seeing Albert range so far to his right, thought that, you know, Albert kind of semi-hold the man on. He went after it like that, and Lopez, I think he normally assumed that he was going to get it.
And it brings in the former Marlin, Mike Jacobs. Hit his first home run of the season and number 100 of his career against Washington back on the 11th. He was with the Royals just a season ago. And off-speed pitch and a strike. It's been a little disturbing with Carpenter, Al, the home runs allowed.
Well, most definitely. I mean, he's allowed 5 already this season and only 7 all last year.
Good pitch in on the hands of Jacobs.
There's your good cutter, and that's what really makes him so tough. Look at you, see that downward action, running in on a left-hander, really tying him up offensively, and then he's got the fastball that runs back over the middle of the plate also. Backdoor breaking ball. See you later.
No argument there from Jacobs. First strikeout for Chris Carpenter. Mets strand 2. And for folks out there, they had a chance to get an autograph from Adam Wainwright tonight. He was out there signing. Also, a lot of former players make their way out there as well. Great way to take in a Friday night here at Busch Stadium, the Busch Bash in the Ford Plaza. Lopez, Craig, and Pujols, a lot of righties in there. Ludwig, Molina, Freese, Mather, Ryan, and Carpenter. That's a look at your starting lineup for the Cardinals tonight against Oliver Perez. He's 0-1. He went 5 2/3 in his start. Had 6 strikeouts in that game. And he gets Felipe Lopez, the switch hitter, who looks at a strike. Look at the defense here and the big gap in left center, and also even pulling it down the line.
Well, look at how the right fielder even is so far off the line.
Pulls it down the left field line. That ball is fair. Off the wall. And Lopez turns on the pitch and picks up a leadoff double.
Yeah, their advanced scout had that defensive alignment perfect, didn't they? But Perez, who doesn't throw as hard as he once did, and a ball right in the middle of the plate. Hit hard.
And the outfielder is Gary Matthews Jr. in center. He hasn't moved here for Alan Craig. It's basically the same defense.
Good. We haven't seen enough of Alan Craig, last year's minor league player of the year, but you see that big gap out there, and you know they give the lines at both left and right. Perez doesn't throw that hard anymore. That's one of the problems.
Used to be a guy that was in the low to mid 90s, and now they'll say he'll top out 89, 90.
Right. He's down. He's still always been a strikeout guy. He's struck out in a batter per inning throughout his career, but he just doesn't go deep into ball games anymore.
Came up with the Padres in 2002. He's acquired by Pittsburgh in 2003. It was a big trade. That was also with Jason Bay. Brian Giles part of that deal. Toyota keys to the game, and one of the problems that Perez has had, walks, and you see most walks per 9 innings pitched since 2008. He's at the top of that list.
It's not like he gives up a lot of hits, but he does give up a lot of walks.
Alan Craig at 1-2 takes a ball. Again, Matt Holliday feeling a little bit under the weather, so Alan Craig gets the start in left field. We primarily have seen him come off the bench, and when he does play in the field, it's been in right.
But this is a real plus, and if Albert was on his deathbed, he would still get up and face Oliver Perez.
Here's a 2-2.
I'm not mistaken, doesn't he just own Perez too?
I believe so, from his time with Pittsburgh. Pujols saw him a bunch. There you go. 11 for 28, 3 home runs. A rare 2 strikeout day yesterday for Pujols. Bud Norris was nasty. 3-2. Bud Norris had 9 strikeouts. It was an unearned run that he gave up. And that's now 18 innings in which he's seen the Cardinals. And no runs have been earned on his watch.
And only one run allowed in those 18 innings, the unearned run yesterday.
And that was his 12th start of his young major league career.
I know the Cardinals were not happy with the strike zone, but they chased an awful lot of pitches out of the strike zone.
See, Perez still has that very good slider, but velocity on the fastball is down. 3-2 to Craig. And a walk. So we've seen it a bunch in this homestand. The first 2 getting on in front of Albert Pujols. It'll be Bay, Matthews Jr., and Frank Core in the outfield. Wright, Reyes, Castillo, and Jacobs. And the battery is Perez and Rod Barajas, a longtime major leaguer. So a double, a walk, and here's Pujols. And Gary Matthews Jr. has not left that spot center.
Oliver Perez likes to pound right-handed batters in, but without that 4 or 5 miles an hour.
Here's a ground ball. Wright will step on the bag over the first, double play. So 5-3 on the double play. And it's up to Ludwig to extend the inning. Boy, Perez needed that.
I was going to say, without 5 miles an hour more in velocity, you're trying to pound right-handed hitters in. A lot of times that ball gets hit hard.
And now with Ludwig up, they'll change. And as a matter of fact, Matthews Jr. playing him to pull slightly, and a gap into right center field.
Boy, they sure are playing deep.
Mather was playing deep in the first two.
You can understand Mather because he's not, if you don't have a lot of experience in the outfield, they'll teach you to play a little deeper. Allow the base hit in front of you, but just don't give up the extra base hit in the gap or over your head.
Ludwig had a really tough start. 3 for his first 21 to begin the year. Then he went 4 for 4 with a triple on the home opener against Houston Monday. And the 4 hits marked the first time a Cardinals player had 4 hits in the home opener since Keith Hernandez, who's in the booth next to us.
Keith doing the game tonight, and with Big Fox tomorrow and the Sunday night game, this is the only game he'll work in the series. There you see Keith Hernandez.
And Ludwig strikes out, so Perez gets out of an early jam. After 1, there's no score. And you can text your answer to 432-432. We'll give you the results later in the game. Now, if you asked that question in the 80s,
right,
pretty easy. It was the Mets.
It was the Mets.
Mets and Cardinals went back and forth in the 80s. You always think about the Terry Pendleton home run at Shea Stadium, a famous one. Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden, Howard Johnson, who's a coach now. The staff here with the Mets.
You go to the 70s, and the Mets and Phillies would apply because the Cardinals were playing in the Eastern Division of the National League.
Right.
It was just East and West.
3-0 the count on Jeff Francoeur. He's off to a very good start, hitting .438, 3 home runs and 7 RBIs.
He's hit in all 9 games this season for the Mets.
Former Brave. He was a first-round selection of the Atlanta Braves. He was a high school star from that area, and he draws the second walk tonight for the Mets.
That's not Carpenter-like either. You know, people ask you about Carpenter as you look at Rojas. And, you know, with all the arm problems he's had, if there was something bothering him physically, he would state it. He is not. He says he's fine. So you give him the benefit of the doubt. He'll work it out. He'll figure it out. There's no better competitor. And, you know, working with Dave Duncan, he'll get those pitches. Those home run pitches were supposed to be hit. They were up, out over the middle of the plate. That's not the way Carpenter pitches.
And that misses low to Barajas, who's hitting .241, pair of home runs and 6 RBIs, and already 25 pitches thrown here by Carpenter, and only 3 outs in the book. Double play candidate is Barajas. There's a good pitch. But to follow up on your point, with everything that Chris Carpenter's been through, he is not going to risk missing significant time. I mean, if something is going to bother him, he is going to make them aware of it.
He's a great competitor, but he's a realist. And if there's a physical problem, he would state it.
There's a line shot into center. Francoeur will make the turn around second and stop right there. So the first 2 have reached for the Mets. Exmo Cam brought to you by Plaza Tire Service. Let's take a look.
He lands right there. And a nice job. You see the firmness of that clay.
See that front leg dig in there, and you're trying to get a little drive off of that as well when you land. And hopefully your foot doesn't slide on a wet night like this evening.
Now, the worst thing is when you have such a loose, crumbling mound and it just digs big holes.
Now the 8th place hitter, Gary Matthews Jr. Curveball and a strike. Let's see how Jerry Manuel wants to play it here with your pitcher on deck. David Freese taking no chances. He's in at third.
Matthews 0 for 9 this year with runners in scoring position.
8-9 here. You figure you can get out of this jam. We saw him in spring training the final week, and Gary Matthews Jr. really was struggling at that point in time.
They brought him over here. He's got a big contract, and they brought him over here to be a big part of their offense. They didn't bring him over here to be an 8th place hitter.
He's in center field tonight. And, of course, there's the strikeout, second of the night for Carpenter. They are missing Carlos Beltran. Beltran had surgery when he was in Kansas City. And of course, he went to Houston, signed with the Mets. And they say basically on his knee, it's like bone on bone. So they may not get him until possibly the end of June, which would be a significant loss for Jerry Manuel. Here's Oliver Perez. After the strikeout of Gary Matthews Jr., 2 on the night for Carpenter, showing bunt. And did it hit him?
Could be a better actor and go down to first base. Showing bunt, now trying to get out of the way. Looked like he lifted his toe up. I guess he lifted it up. Looked like he was going to hurt himself trying to get out of the way.
First and second, here comes a 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes.
That's trying to give Carpenter out, and he's not falling behind the count. Stabbed at it.
Slow starts, the aces in the Central. Wandy Rodriguez, Cardinals saw him earlier. Giovanni Gallardo and Carlos Zambrano had a terrible opening day start. And he does have a win, but most of that ERA, the problems were with the first start against Atlanta. That's deadened in a tough spot here for Carpenter, and he'll make the play. Oh, and now they got the runner hung up. Play at the plate. Wide throw, and the Mets have a lead. Francoeur scores.
Terrible base running there, and they got away with it. So good sacrifice. And Albert threw the ball too soon. He throws a third. He breaks for home. There you see the bad throw by Brendan Ryan. And just one, he screened, Molina screened. He can't see the throw coming in because of the runner. And it was way off the mark. And very sloppy play there. Give them, the Mets, a 1-0 lead.
So 2 outs and a runner at third. Right now you can see Carpenter does not have a feel for the baseball. And Molina, great block, saved it.
Absolutely. It's very tough. Right at the feet of a left-handed batter, bounces up and weight shift. Got enough of it to block it, keep it in the vicinity.
Chris, of course, has dealt with so much in his career with the shoulder, the elbow, nerve issues. That's fouled back by Reyes. Truly one of the great competitors in baseball today. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs and a runner at third. So the sack goes 1-3 and then E6. And the catch made by Mather on a hard hit ball by Reyes. So the error by Brendan Ryan, and Francoeur scores the first run. 1-0 Mets midway through 2. For the 2010 census. It's not too late. Fill out and mail back your census form today. Kids opening weekend here at Busch Stadium. Fireworks coming up after the game.
She's having fun.
It's a look at Chris Carpenter visiting there with Dave Duncan. And this is well hit. Right center field. Matthews Jr. back and makes the catch. Well, he was shading Molina to right center field, and by doing that, it paid off.
Playing deep also made it a pretty easy run for him.
Here's David Freese. You know, when he was with the Angels talking about Gary Matthews Jr., I don't remember when they came through interleague play of him playing that deep. You know, he was a guy that would play in, and he went back and made a couple of spectacular catches in that series a few years ago.
Yeah, he's pretty good defensively, but there's a lot of base hits that'll fall in front of him. He still has that ability to go back on a ball.
That pitch misses low and away to David Freese.
You got to think that they are having him play this deep. You know, that's by the request of the Mets, their coaching staff.
Freese, right center. Matthews Jr. won't get that one. It's down. 1 out's off the wall, and David Freese with a 1-out double. So 2 doubles allowed already by the lefty Oliver Perez, the other 2 Felipe Lopez.
It's a 4-game hitting streak for David and 6 games here at home. If you go back to last year, fastball just down right there. He just goes down and get a nice swing. That ball through. He's got a lot of pop in his bat. They got out there in the outfield quickly. So if Mather and company can't drive him in.
Talking with Mark McGuire, he said that's what David Freese can do very well, is take the ball to the opposite field, and for power in particular to right center. So here's Mather.
And I think to accentuate that, it's sort of a rarity for a young player because they all want to pull the ball. So when you can get a young guy to hit to the opposite field with power, you know, that's something to get excited about.
1-0 here on Joe Mather with 1 out and a runner at second base. Cardinals trailing 1-0 very early in this game. Time is called. Gary Matthews Jr. was out throwing the ball off the wall to get an idea of how it would bounce off the wall, how it would carry him. It was around 5 o'clock this afternoon. Neither team took batting practice on the field.
It's a good thing to do. You know, this stadium, there's really not too many odd angles, especially in center field, but it's always important to go out and throw a ball off the wall and see how the ball caroms.
2 balls, no strikes. Check swing, and he went. I mentioned before there have been some subtle changes at Citi Field. One of the things they're trying to do is to recognize the past a little bit more of those Mets teams that won championships, retired numbers and whatnot, and also as far as the playing the surface is concerned and the dimensions out in center field, instead of bringing the wall in, they've dropped it down. And I'm not so sure that's going to make that big of a difference anyway, because if a guy hits it to center field, as we were talking with some of the Mets broadcasters, they said he was probably going out over the wall anyway, so it only dropped down a few feet. David Wright, what a play. Gets up, got him. Wow. You can't do it any better than that.
Freese does a nice job to read that ball well, and after Wright saves a run, this ball dives, gets up. Old turf days to make that throw in there, but he gets a new true hop for Jacobs at the other end. Look at Freese. He's caught in between, and a good thing David Wright got up and through. And we'll see what their little conference is here.
Well, you got 2 outs, 8th place hitter, and Chris Carpenter on deck. David Wright comes up with one of the best plays already this year. That was just an awesome play.
Yep.
And even the hop, that final hop, kind of jumped up a little bit too, more than you anticipated. He has won the Gold Glove before, and he showed us why.
Well, here's that scenario that I talk all the time about, that it's just too easy to say I got an 8th place hitter, I'm going to put him on. Why not just, you already got a lead. Why not attack that 8th place hitter? You should be able to retire. We know Brendan is a much better hitter than what he's displayed in the young season. But to attack that 8th place hitter, it's early in the game. Get him out, get out of the inning, and then you got a third of the way next inning, getting the pitcher out.
Well, Oliver Perez has seen the Cardinals a number of times in regular season play, but let's take you back to Game 7, Shea Stadium, NLCS 2006. And he had a big night, but not quite enough as the bullpen would give it up. Molina would hit the home run. Endy Chavez had the remarkable catch, the near home run by Scott Rowland. But in many ways, his push at the end of that year got him a big contract in that game as well. So here's Carpenter, a chance to help himself. One ball, one strike with 2 outs and runners at first and third. David Freese with a 1-out double. Mather was robbed at third. Ryan, the intentional walk, and now Carpenter. In the air out to center. Gary Matthews Jr. there. And the Cardinals have stranded 3. We'll have a special guest when we come back. Kind enough to join us, the executive director of the Variety Club of St. Louis. And always nice to see you, Jan. How are you?
I'm just great. Thanks so much.
Well, every time we get you in here, it's a special day because we're talking about trying to help out kids in St. Louis. So give us the details of the big Emos Day upcoming.
We have a big Emos Day coming up next Wednesday, the 21st. 10% of anything you buy at Emos, whether it's pizza or sandwich or salad or whatever, is going to go to the Variety Kids because it's Variety Week starting tomorrow with a big kickoff parade downtown here.
Well, tell us about the Variety Club and exactly where the proceeds go and what you folks do.
Yeah, Variety has been here since 1932, and what we're doing is serving children with mental and physical disabilities all throughout the region, 30 different counties, 19,000 children a year served by Variety.
And over the past 12 years, nearly $1 million has gone to Variety Club from Emos, so they've had a real positive impact on what you folks are trying to do.
They certainly have. They are great friends of variety. They love the children. They love what they're doing for them in this community. And as you know, it's a lot.
There's a ground out by Castillo. Pujols ranging to his right, and covering was Carpenter. And if you'd like to help donate to the cause, go to VarietySTL.org or the number 314-453-0453. 453-0453. And again, the Emos Day is the one that we really want to focus on, because I know that that's when a lot of those the money and the proceeds that's raised that day go to you folks. So what day is that again?
That is Wednesday, and what a great way to help the Variety kids. Call up Emos and order your lunch, dinner, whatever. They all day long they will give 10% to Variety. So
Saturday, this is David Wright, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tomorrow you have the Variety Parade, and anybody can come down to that, correct?
Anybody. 10 o'clock, 18th and Chestnut will be rolling down Marcus Street with 65 fantastic units, marching bands, floats, balloons, and then a great party in Allo Plaza for all the kids with snacks, pony rides, face painting, lots of fun for the whole family. It's a family affair.
And you have a fashion show tomorrow.
The fashion show, right on the heels of the parade at the Chase Park Plaza, a big fashion show.
And Wednesday is the Emos Day. That's a strikeout of David Wright. Then on Friday, you've got the Night of the Rising Stars. What is that?
Yeah, that's put on by our Young Variety organization, and it's at Lumen down on Locust. A great night for the young folks, and their event is going to have a silent auction, a fabulous DJ, a real rockin' night. That's going to be a wonderful event, and then we finish it up with a gala on Saturday at the Chase. Dinner with the Stars, the 44th annual gala.
And if people would like to know more, again, go to VarietySTL.org or 453-0453 to sign up and to donate money as well. 1 ball, 1 strike here on Jason Bay. And we'll give that number out before we head to break. And, well, here we'll do it right now. 314-453-0453 or VarietySTL.org. Chris Carpenter looking sharp here in the top of the third. It's a great cause, huh?
Well, thanks so much. Yes, we think so. The children are so deserving of all of our help, and it's great for the community to be stepping forward during Variety Week.
We appreciate it, Jan. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot.
That's the executive director of the Variety Club of St. Louis, Jan Albus. Again, the number 453-0453. Right down the middle, Bay strikes out, and that's 4 tonight for Carpenter. So one more look at that phone number as we move to the bottom of the third here in St. Louis. The crowd through the third inning fan cam and see who's enjoying the game. Budweiser, it's what we do. Carpenter looked a lot sharper there in the top of the third. Called third strikes on David Wright and Jason Bay. And now we're at the top of the lineup for the Redbirds. Felipe Lopez, Alan Craig, and Albert Pujols. Here's that slider from Perez. Perez doubled down the left field line, first time up. Here's the 0-1 pitch. They chased it, and they're going to say he held up. Well, Carpenter there in that third inning, Al, and you were away, but I know you were watching.
No, I was watching.
He had a very sharp breaking ball and looked a lot better there in that third inning.
Yeah, and that's not surprising. You know, a guy like him he'll find it as he goes along, just try to minimize the damage early, and then you get into a game and you find that release point, and let's hope he keeps it.
And I think the key there is having a feel for the release point, is what you're talking about. And, you know, if you go back to Sunday, and again what we saw in the first couple of innings, you just don't see him miss by that much like we've seen the last couple of starts.
Well, we always talked, and last year, you know, he was second in the Cy Young voting. He was the ERA champion in the National League, and, you know, he left nothing in the middle of the plate. And everything was in or out. If it was up by design, but not in the middle of the plate. Most of the time, he had that break on the bite and kept the ball down. And you know, he just didn't do that in that one inning in Cincinnati or his last start in Milwaukee.
And a swing and a miss. Strikeout number 2 for Oliver Perez. Southwest Airlines Foxtrot. Let's take a look.
One thing you can see, we talked about it yesterday with Bud Norris, who struck out 9, tied his career high. A lot of Cardinal hitters swinging at pitches out of the strike zone.
Six of the 9 outs for Carpenter have been on breaking balls so far. And we showed you earlier, Carpenter, where he lands and works from that first base side of the rubber, while Perez is pretty much right down the middle.
Right in the middle, and then most left-handers usually have a little bit of cross their body action. But talked earlier about how the mound, and this is, you know, really in good shape. You see how they, you know, they dig it up a little bit, but there's no hole there. So even if you land in somebody else's landing area, you know, it doesn't bother you because there's not a crater.
It was really a dynamic, wasn't it, for you as a reliever coming in? 8th, 9th inning, and that mound had been beaten up, and all of a sudden, you know, you got one guy that's 6'5", you got another guy 6 foot, you got another guy 6'2".
You don't know what you're doing. I mean, you're exactly right, because, you know, you would have different landing holes, and I mean, at times you'd actually have to call out the groundskeeper and say, you got to fill this hole up, because, you know, I'm striding into somebody else's, and I'm falling into a 6-inch little crater there.
6 inches.
6 inches, you know, that you'd fall into, or there'd be a hole right in front of the rubber. You know, sometimes it did help you push off, but you know, it was the landing area was where you really had the minefield.
Here's Pujols grounded into a double play in the first. That was the Cardinals' best opportunity. They had first and second, nobody out. Perez got out of that jam. The oddities of the beginning of the season have been Carpenter with the home runs allowed, and the fact that Pujols has struck out more than we're accustomed to seeing.
That's right.
Big gap in left center again. Matthews Jr. shading him to right center, but that's really not all that different from what we've seen before with Pujols. A great power hitter, but yet he's great to anywhere in the outfield. A lot of teams actually would shade him to the opposite field.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it shading the opposite field, especially if you got a speedy center fielder like Matthews, because many times when he hits it to that outfield, all they're doing is watching it go bye-bye.
3-1. Again, Ryan Ludwig is your cleanup man tonight with Matt Holliday out. Pujols and Holliday. You see what he's done through 9 games. The strikeouts, but Pujols and Holliday, those two have combined for 21 RBIs. The rest of the team for the Cardinals at 22.
That's what's concerning to me is, and we showed that graphic earlier, that you don't want to be dependent on the home run. Last couple days, the Cardinals did not hit a home run. They scored a total of 3 runs. Lucky to be 1-1 during that time.
Full count here on Albert Pujols. He was ready for it. Now you can shade him to the opposite field, but yet if you go in on Pujols, he has the great ability to pull it.
And an even greater ability than most to keep it fair. But what's Perez's breaking balls going to come in on him? He does very few back doors, so you would think that ball he's going to pull.
Time called.
Perez likes to pitch inside even with his fastball.
A 3-2 pitch. And Pujols grounds it left side. David Wright again gets up, takes a hit away. How good has David Wright been so far tonight defensively for the Mets? He robbed Mather earlier and took an RBI away. Takes a hit away here from Albert Pujols. We played 3 at Busch Stadium. 1-0 Mets. First pitch to Mike Jacobs, taken for a strike. Jacobs struck out his first time up, and Carpenter has struck out 4, including the last 2. Carpenter had a light bullpen session on Wednesday, and he talked about trying to locate his fastball. He said that's what he was working on. You see there, he's struggling with that fastball a little bit here tonight.
I remember, because of the innings that he pitched and Wainwright pitched, that Dave Duncan purposely had them pitch 1 less start in spring training. So that's saying only 21% fastballs?
Yes.
Well, how are you going to locate it when you never throw it?
Yep. 2-2.
And how's your arm stay on when you're throwing that many breaking pitches?
Looking for strikeout number 5. There's the breaking ball and a base hit to right.
It's a curveball, but you see it's got a big hump in it. 74 miles an hour, but started real high and ended up about letter high. That ball's usually going to be hit. It was almost like the get-ahead breaking ball instead of a finishing off breaking ball.
And here's Jeff Rancourt. This will be pitch 56 for Carpenter tonight. Base hit to left. So the first 2 have reached. Mets with 4 base hits. Not too late to get a 2010 season ticket plan. Choose from a full season, 40-game, or 27-game plans, and each plan includes a hefty discount. That's off the gate price, plus lots of additional perks. For details, visit Cardinals.com today. Here's Rod Barajas. He singled first time up. Got Barajas here, and then Gary Matthews Jr., the 8th place hitter. So 7, 8, and 9. Chance to get out of this jam. And that's pulled foul. Some may say, why not sacrifice here? But you've got a struggling bat in your 8th spot. Plus, you leave first base open. If you wanted to, you just put him on and then deal with Perez. Yeah. And it could be counterproductive for Jerry Manuel.
And Rojas has been one of their more reliable hitters. He had 2 home runs on April the 9th against Washington. He's got 6 RBIs, and we already documented how Gary Matthews Jr. is struggling.
There's a good curveball from Chris Carpenter. 0-2.
That's the one that, you know, starts out about the waist, and then it falls down below the knees. Starting up around the shoulders, it's going to be a much hittable pitch.
192 and 2/3 innings last year for Carpenter. A total of 7 home runs, 5 already this year. There's a little check swing to Carpenter and a double play. That'll help. So 1-3 on the double play, and here's Gary Matthews Jr.
Another base running mistake is just an excuse me swing. A little soft liner back at him, and Francoeur, who had the bad base running mistake earlier, but they messed up the rundown play, and he was able to elude it and score the first run of the game. Makes another base running mistake.
And time is called. Gary Matthews Jr. came over from the Angels. Exchanged for a right-hander. Brian Stokes was in late January.
The year his walk year when he was with Texas.
313, 19 home runs, and 79 RBIs. Also great defense.
Parlayed that into about a $55 million contract, and then he found himself being the 4th outfielder with the Angels.
And this is a guy that was with San Diego, the Chicago Cubs. He was claimed off of waivers at one point. Second chance now with the Mets. He was with Baltimore. Twice he was claimed off of waivers. San Diego got him again. Then Atlanta. Good numbers here against Carpenter. One of the reasons why he's in the lineup tonight. It's now 35.
Played with his father, Sarge.
He's now working as a broadcaster with the Phillies. They had the Sarge and the Penguin, the Hawk, Rhino, all those guys in Chicago. 2-1, 2-2. Outfield is very shallow for Gary Matthews Jr. Carpenter looking for his 5th strikeout of the night. Got him. Good breaking ball. 5 strikeouts for Chris Carpenter. Ryan Ludwig leads it off when we come back. Visit your local Lowe's on Saturday, April 10th, Scott's National Lawn Care Day, and learn tips from lawn care pros. It'll be Ludwig, Molina, and Freeze. The Cardinals trailing 1-0, bottom of the 4th. It's turned out to be a pleasant night here at Busch Stadium. Little rain late this afternoon here in St. Louis.
Cooler temperatures. They're going to drop a bit, but still nothing to complain about.
Here's Ludwig. First pitch popped up right side and out of play. Kyle Loesch pitched well enough yesterday, Al, to win that game. He held Houston to 2 runs through 7 innings.
No doubt about it. Starting pitching really has been fine. A so-so effort. His first time for Loesch. Carpenter had the bad outing in Milwaukee. Every other start with those two, should been a victory for the starters.
In the Cardinals' 9 games, the starter has allowed 2 or fewer runs. Gives you a chance to win. And the 2 walk-off wins for Cincinnati and Milwaukee in those losses. And then yesterday was really the first lopsided loss of the year.
That was a close game until the 8th inning.
Right. Rotation ERA is under 3 right now. These guys just seem to push each other. They always talk about that friendly competition between them. 1-2 pitch. Ludwig. A high fly ball to left. Bay under it. 1 away. And Ryan Ludwig is 0 for 2. Brings in Molina, lined out to center first time up. We always talk about Holiday and Pujols as the guys you could ill afford to lose. I was saying this to somebody the other day, and I wonder if you agree. I said I look at 2 other guys as well, Brendan Ryan and Yadier Molina.
No doubt. And I'll put Molina ahead of Ryan right now.
And the reason I say Brendan Ryan is that I do think, and I'm sure you agree, he's going to hit much better than what he is.
Yeah, he's going to hit. And
he means so much defensively to your team.
Yeah, you think that no one, and Felipe did a nice job yesterday, but no one has the range that Brendan Ryan has.
Molina is just exceptional at what he brings to the table as far as handling his staff and being arguably the best defensive catcher in the game.
Well, there's no doubt he's the best in the National League. And Jason LaRue does a nice job handling the assignments those few times when Molina's out of the lineup. But over an extended period of time, it would be very tough to replace him.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make that a knock on the guys that are behind
exactly.
him. Just, these guys are exceptional defensive players.
And you know what's good is, like, you talk to a guy like Jason, he's a realist. You know, he had his time when he was an everyday player in Cincinnati and is on the disabled list and look like he'll get off when he's eligible. But he understands that Molina is the everyday catcher, and that's important. Understand your role.
Here's a 2-1 pitch to Molina. In the air, down the right field line. Long way to go for Francoeur. Over and makes the catch on the run. The defense tonight behind Perez has bailed him out.
It is a nice play there. And Francoeur got a very good throwing arm, but he gives chase, long stride, and reaches up at the last second and hauls that ball in.
I was talking with Jose Oquendo, the Cardinals' third base coach, who will run on just about everybody, but he said one guy that you really got to take into account if you want to test him is Francoeur. He said not only is he possess the strong arm, but it's quick in his release and very, very accurate. He said there's guys that have arms like Francoeur, but I'll run on them all day because they're not accurate.
Not accurate.
Francoeur is accurate.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get positioning. Two outs, nobody on for Freese, who doubled. He's 1 for 1 tonight. When he first came up, you thought Oliver Perez was going to be something very, very special.
Right.
Lefty, threw hard, nasty slider. Worked with Sandy Koufax, of all people, this spring training. Sandy was at the Mets camp at Port St. Lucie and worked with Oliver Perez in particular in his breaking ball. 2-1 pitch.
The Mets owner, Mr. Wilpon, either went to school with Sandy Koufax or they're close. I know they're close friends, but I think they went to maybe even to high school together, and so they've kept that relationship, and that's why Koufax was there.
Seeing a lot of off speed and breaking balls. 2 at bats tonight here for David Freese. No pitch has been harder than 90, so there's what you're talking about, that diminished velocity of Oliver Perez here in 2010. It's a good pitch there and on the hands of Freese.
That's what he likes to do. You know, is go inside to the right-handed batters, but when you're down in velocity 3 or 4 miles an hour, you better make sure you have the location. That was a good pitch in on the hands.
Good job of waiting back and driving it into center. Base hit for David Freese. Cardinal third baseman is 2 for 2. And in steps Joe Mather. Mather had an extra base hit taken away his first time up. The work of David Wright. As Wright took the extra base hit away, and an RBI as well for Mather, who's hitting just 143. Gets a start in center field tonight. Tony La Russa before the game indicating that Rasmus and Schumacher would be back in tomorrow. That's inside to Mather.
Well, with the left-hander on the mound, it was a good opportunity to get Rasmus and Schumacher a little bit of rest. With the illness to Holiday, you got a chance to get Alan Craig in there. Because these guys on the bench, if they're going to contribute, they're going to need a game every now and then to start.
This time last year was Joe Thurston and Brian Barton. Those two were very good. Matter of fact, Barton was the Rookie of the Month in the National League that first month.
Probably Thurston was his runner-up. So they split time at third base, and cost Freeze playing time. So they said, send him back down to the minor leagues.
It's a Fox Tracks, and it shows you just got the corner. It's 3 cameras involved with that graphic, so very much right on the spot where it hits the glove. Mather turns on the pitch, and that's foul. Two balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs and a runner at first. In the 4th inning here at Busch Stadium. With a big crowd tonight. First of 3 with the Mets. Pennant Day tomorrow. The Matt Holliday jersey is on Sunday. A 2-2. Mather hits it to third. Long throw for David Wright, and he is out. Stretching was Jacobs at first. Took the extra base hit and an RBI. That would have tied it up. Here's Pujols. He went to his left, took a hit away there. And I mean deep. Backing up on this play. And a long throw to get Mather.
Good range left, right. Good, strong throwing arm. He's a very good and a complete player.
To me, and I don't know if you agree with this, Scott Rowland is still the top of the class. I mean, the guy is just a phenomenal defensive third baseman. But David Wright is right there, and unfortunately we just haven't seen him as much just because of interleague playing in the unbalanced schedule. But if you watch enough games of the Mets, you'll see that guy put on a show.
I think he may be as good as Rowland today.
Just because Rowland's getting a little bit older.
A little older, yeah.
And visit the official online shop of the Cardinals at Cardinals.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear. You get latest apparel, memorabilia, something for the entire family. Get your gear from the official source, and that's Cardinals.com. We hope you shop today. So Perez retired. One out, and here's Jose Reyes.
Just you don't see very many fastballs. You don't see the cutter as much tonight. There's a fastball.
Al, could that be an issue of how the ball just feels in your hand right now?
Oh, I just think it's, in his mind, gives him the best opportunity. But here we are complaining about a guy with 6 strikeouts. And one unearned run allowed. Like the cutter here.
And Reyes chased it.
Yeah, it was. You can't get on top of that one up there. So, you know, it was in a spot where couldn't get hurt on it. It was too high. Curveball. Just not pulling down on it. Here's the cutter.
And a swing and a miss. So that's now 6 strikeouts. Check that, 7 strikeouts for Carpenter. Cardinals crew with Fred Bird and Andy Bennis. The U-Man is back for another season right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Watch tomorrow morning. Andy considers making a comeback. We'll also relive opening day highlights. Cardinals crew made possible by Shriners Hospital for Children. And it airs on Saturdays right here on Fox Sports Midwest.
Yeah, and you and I consider making a comeback, and then we wake up.
We talked to Andy the other day about what saved him in that final year. And he said he was playing catch with Chuck Finley, who taught him the fork ball.
And Dave Duncan kind of laughed at him. What do you mean you perfected a pitch like yesterday? And he got a big out with it. And Dave said, what was that? And he goes, that's my fork ball. That's my new pitch. And that got him by that second half, and he pitched very well. That final half, that was after basically being cast aside and not wanted.
Two and two.
Now sometimes you'll bounce a ball up there, and it's by design. You know, the catcher will call for it. You want to throw it. You want to keep it really down there and get a guy to swing wildly at it. They want the fastball. They want the curveball, the cutter.
And Dave Duncan said in that conversation with Andy Bettis, he thought he was joking. And Andy said he had first and second, nobody out. He used the pitch and got out of the inning, and all of a sudden used it a lot more and helped the Cardinals advance. As Castillo draws the walk.
Third walk tonight. Carpenter usually one of the best at allowing less than 2 walks per 9 innings.
The New York Mets since 2006. You see the offense and the decline that they have had. And much of that, of course, a year ago due to injuries. They had 1,000 games lost on the disabled list a season ago.
See the 95 home runs. That was the lowest total in the major leagues last season. 95 home runs for the Mets.
David Wright was injured when he took a pitch off the helmet. That was by Matt Cain, who, of course, is a hard thrower from San Francisco. And you might remember earlier in spring training, Al, it was Eduardo Sanchez of the Cardinals, who was also a hard thrower, threw 2 pitches up and in to right, who spun away in his first couple of bats of spring. And after the injury, David Wright only at 239. Carpenter can't believe he didn't get that call.
Looks our Fox tracks tell you that pitch was at the knees, just a pitcher's pitch, but not getting it. I'm sure Kerwin Dantley hasn't heard anything from the bench.
Here's a 2-1. Right back to Carpenter, who makes the play. And Carpenter asking about the previous pitch and where it was. So was that ball low? This one right back at him. Mets strand their 6th runner. 0-3-1 for the Cardinals. Cardinals have stranded 4. Albert Pujols looking on, and here is Brendan Ryan against Oliver Perez. Brendan was intentionally walked back in the second. That brought up first and third for Carpenter, who then flew out to center field. Oh, 2.
And you're talking about Andy Bennis, and I got word that the University of Evansville is retiring Andy's college baseball uniform.
That's great. That's great.
Where's yours, Dan?
Probably the same place yours is. Where's your... I'm serious. You're in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, Al. And Chopper, David Wright has it. This date in baseball history, take you back to 2006. Albert Pujols, home runs in 3 consecutive at-bats. You might remember in 06, that was the first year of the stadium, so those seats were off limits for a little bit. They still were doing some work here at the ballpark.
Yep.
Now, you are in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, Al.
In the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame.
Do you have some of your old jerseys?
No, we weren't allowed to keep them back then. Seriously. I'm also in my college Hall of Fame. As a chartered member, they had to change the name of the college. They had to change the name of the college. I kept on getting these letters from Fullerton College. I said, I didn't know that.
It's Carpenter way up in the box. Normally see guys deep.
Well, he knows he can turn on any fastball.
What's gotten into you tonight, Al?
It's that Nemo's Pizza you were talking about.
Getting you hungry, huh? 2-1 pitch. Foul back right below us. We've had foul balls right below us in this at bat to almost the same spot.
Right. And we've never had one in this booth, have we?
The old stadium, you saved me.
Yeah, but not in this stadium.
I don't think so.
Somebody asked me that the other day. I said we did not.
Carpenter a swing, and that high delivery is grounded to second. This Sunday, all fans ages 15 and under receive a St. Louis Cardinals replica jersey featuring Matt Holliday. Learn all season long, courtesy of Ice Mountain. For details, call 345-9000 or visit Cardinals.com. Tomorrow is the banner day featuring Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina. Sunday, the jersey, and all kids 15 and under, paid admission, get a voucher for a ticket to a game later this season. Also, kids can run the bases after the game tomorrow. Good seats still remaining for both contests. We're in the 5th, 2 outs, and here is Felipe Lopez. And that'll find the seats. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, Whitey Herzog was in Springfield and was honored in front of the Springfield Cardinals and their opener, the AA affiliate of the Cardinals, Peter Kozma, who was the highly touted draft pick of a few years ago, had a home run in that game and 3 RBIs. Infielder.
Shortstop.
Here's a 1-1.
quite the game that we expected, is it? Paul Perez doing a nice job tonight containing the Cardinal bats. And
2-1 pitch on its way to the switch hitting Lopez. Perez with 2 strikeouts. The Cardinals with just 3 base hits.
2 by David Freese, 1 by Felipe Lopez to start this ball game for the Redbirds.
See where Lopez is back in the box. Carpenter was up in front. 3-1 pitch. So third walk issue. One of those was intentional by Perez. June 6th, Busch Stadium hosts the 6th annual Purina Pooches in the Ballpark. Come downtown, enjoy a ball game with man's best friend beside you. Limited number of tickets are on sale now at Cardinals.com. And number to call for information, 345-9500. There's Alan Craig. He walked and is also grounded out to second.
The thing to notice in this ball game is how deep or how far will Perez go. His previous starting went like 5 innings. He has not pitched at least 7 innings since September 14th of 08.
Well, he showed you the walks earlier, and that's why he does not go deep into games.
Yeah, he's averaged a little over 4 2/3 innings per start since the start of 2009. So he's pitching well, but how long will he last? Pitch counts at 80.
And a 1-1 pitch to Craig. Line down the left field line and foul. Watch out down there. Great effort by the ball boy. That's Matt, who was part of day baseball yesterday, and he avoided a couple of balls right at him. How about his effort? He's got to duck and dive, make sure he's not part of the play.
Last couple games, he's had some adventures down there, and he's been perfect in all of them and avoiding not being part of the game. So nice going, Matt. Aaron's a little jealous. He's not getting any airtime.
He almost ate that baseball. That thing was targeted right for him. Apparently, Aaron has aged quite a bit. That's not Aaron.
That's not Aaron.
Winners around here can be tough on you. 1-2 on Craig.
We both know that, don't we?
One ball, 2 strikes. Craig is hitting just 125. Pulled foul.
And to get these young players that are used to playing every single day, and then now they're going to be, lucky to get one start every 10 days or a pinch hit appearance here and there. And it'd be tough for those guys to stay ready. One of the most difficult jobs, and that's why it usually falls to veterans. They can handle it.
1-2. In the air out to center. Matthews Jr. under it for the final out to end the 5th. Jason Bay leads it off when we come back. participating restaurants. Here in St. Louis, gorgeous night. It has turned into here for baseball, and Bay lifts it into shallow right field. Ludwig under it. One pitch, one out. Happy birthday, 20 years old, Patrick Eberle. And Kim works for Fox Sports Midwest, Patrick's son, so happy birthday, or rather Kim's son, happy birthday to Patrick.
Patrick's at Mizzou now, isn't he?
I believe so. Here's Jacobs with one out. Carpenter starting to really settle in.
You see that, get ahead breaking ball that Bay lifted for the base hit. Here, Jacobs took a look at it. Carpenter set the barrier so high, and here we're trying to figure out what's wrong with him, and he's given up one unearned run. He struck out 7 in this game.
Also a happy birthday tomorrow, Jack Watkins Sr. He'll be 66. He's watching tonight in Sykeston. Happy birthday to Jack Watkins Sr., big Cardinal fan. And his son is a great guy, works here at the Missouri Valley Conference. Jack Jr. 2-2 with one out and nobody on. The Mets will see Jaime Garcia tomorrow.
Start for Jaime. His first start of the year, beating Milwaukee last Saturday.
He's had the look of a veteran, hasn't he? The way he's handled himself.
A lot of people said that Jaime went to spring training. They kind of reminded them a few years back when Wainwright decided he was going to claim his spot.
His next start after that would be the off day between Arizona and San Francisco. If the Cardinals wanted him, skip him, they could. Pitched in only 9 games last year, coming off the Tommy John surgery.
Interesting, but I think if he pitches anything like he did last Saturday, you use him and you give the guys a rest, an extra day's rest.
Sure. Strikeout number 8 for Carpenter. Return to our trivia tonight, presented by AT&T. How many of the Mets' retired numbers were Mets players? That's it. 1, Tom Seaver. The others were managers. Of course, number 42 has been retired around baseball, Jackie Robinson. We celebrated Jackie Robinson Day yesterday. Brendan Ryan over to Pujols. 10 pitches in that inning, and Albert due up when we come back, so don't go anywhere. Casino. Watch player interviews and Tony La Russa, plus Pat Paris and Ricky Horton break down the game. U.S. Cellular, Cardinals Live after the game on Fox Sports Midwest. Pujols is 0 for 2. He's twice grounded in third. The first time wound up being a double play. And Ludwig on deck and Molina. If you're wondering, Matt Holliday is here and could pinch hit in this game, we're told. Carpenter is now struck out 8. And the Cardinals trail 1-0. Mets about hit the Cardinals 4-3. Showed you that day of Pujols against Weathers when he was with Cincinnati in 2006. That year Pujols would hit 49 home runs and drove in 137.
Typical year.
Hit 331. And a swing and a miss. Strikeout of Albert Pujols. Third for Perez. We are in the home stretch for the 2010 census. It's not too late. Fill out and mail back your census form today. Perez really took some off that last pitch to Pujols.
Sure did. And it just, and the bottom fell out of it. Albert 0 for 3. Now for this pitcher, that's rare.
Pitch count for Perez nearing 90. See the fastball 62% of the time. A very good slider. He's always had that. 0-1 pitch. There's that hard breaking slider.
Well, he's walked 3, but he really hasn't been that far out of the strike zone.
That's been really the biggest concern they've had with Perez. His lack of command. Here's a 1-1 pitch. In the air out to deep right field. Francora is back and midway on the track to make the catch.
Mislocation there, hit hard, but stays in the park.
Ludwig is 0 for 3. What's on tap here on Fox Sports Midwest? Our next game will be from Arizona, the Diamondbacks. Budweiser, the great American lager. Brad Penny against Rodrigo Lopez. That first game, we'll have all 3 games for you on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals will have to face Danny Herron in game 2 of that series. Oh boy. Danny Herron will hook up with Kyle Loesch, and those two were buddies in the offseason, played a lot of catch together, and they'll square off on Tuesday night. There's a look at Kyle, who pitched very well yesterday against Houston. Molina with a line out to center and a fly out to right. Eerily reminiscent of a year ago where these lefties just do a lot of damage to the Cardinals. The Cardinals, for whatever reason, it seems like historically have struggled against left-handed pitching.
Well, it's usually the soft tossers, usually the guys that they haven't seen, but they've seen enough of Perez over the years to have a good book on him. They're not doing much tonight. It's in Tana tomorrow.
Here's a 1-2. A breaking ball and 2 strikeouts in the inning. 4 in the ball game. Powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile yard care solutions start at SteelDealers.com. Lumiere Casino. If the Cardinals win the next day, Lumiere Place is giving away free $10 to play your favorite game with. LumierePlace.com for details. And by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible. Friday night here in St. Louis. Next week we'll be in Arizona. Then an off day. And 3 with the Giants next weekend. So you're going to see Danny Herron. And then see the very good pitching of the San Francisco Giants. They've got outstanding pitching, led, of course, by Tim Lincecum. Bats are quiet again tonight for the Cardinals. Just 3 hits. 2-0 on Rod Barajas here in the 7th.
Well, the Cardinal offense makes a big difference when Holiday's not in it. Always came on the air talking about the dependence on the home run ball for scoring. And you're seeing what happens when the Cardinals don't hit a home run.
Off the end of the bat. 2-1. 7, 8, 9 for Carpenter here to deal with.
It's when you really hope you have one of those real quick innings. Single digit inning.
Carpenter is due up 4th for the Cardinals, and he's approaching 100 pitches. He's number 97. Could be his final inning of work.
More than likely it is, but want to make sure you get him through this inning and then reward him.
Here's a 2-2. Barajas goes down to get it. A fly ball out to left. Alan Craig there to make the catch. Another out for Carpenter via the curveball, and our biggest rival outside the Central. Cardinal fans think the Phillies. We appreciate all the texts presented by U.S. Cellular. The Phillies, of course, back-to-back National League champions.
Yeah. Now with one of Carpenter's buddies, Doc Halladay.
That's right.
Would be very tough too.
Jimmy Rollins was saying that he was disappointed that they didn't keep Cliff Lee and Halladay. There was an opportunity to do so, but the Phillies, their front office, they came out and said, look, we keep both. It's going to be tough to pay everybody, and we have nobody in our system if we do that. We need to replenish some prospects along the way. And that's one of the reasons why. 100 pitches for Carpenter. Imagine that, though. Cliff Lee and
sure.
Halladay, and
of course Cliff Lee, that was assuming he wouldn't have the abdominal strain. Right. He'd be healthy.
Yeah, he's not been healthy so far for Seattle. It's a popular pick among many of the experts to look at the Mariners. They're arguably the most active team this offseason, too, with free agency, trades, Milton Bradley, Cliff Lee coming over. Signed Sean Figgins from Anaheim. Strikeout for Carpenter, number 9. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, David Wright and the Mets take on the Cardinals and Albert Pujols tomorrow. Kenny Albert and Tim McCarver will have that call. Tim was kind enough to be our guest on the pregame show. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by Lowe's this week at 3. Here's Perez hitting for himself in this 7th inning. The bullpen for the Mets has been very good. It's the best in the National League and second best overall in baseball. If you look at the numbers, their ERA is under 2, and of course they've got the outstanding Rodriguez at the back end of games.
I think the pitch counts are way overrated, and we'd like to see guys go deeper in the ball game. And yet, I'm a little surprised that they're letting Perez go back out there with the fact that since the beginning of last year, he's only averaged 4 2/3 innings.
Is this a way, though, to say, hey, we believe in you, we're going to give you that extra jolt of confidence?
Well, that's true, and that's a good point.
It's 10 strikeouts, double digits for Carpenter. Freeze, Mather, Ryan coming up. area Hyundai dealers. Entry forms and entry boxes are at Hyundai dealers now, and we'll draw our first qualifying winners very soon, so good luck. Tony trying to figure out how to get this offense going. Shut down yesterday and being shut out here tonight. Jerry Manuel saw his team win 5-0 yesterday in Colorado. Mike Pelfrey had 7 shutout innings. And this is exactly what they needed. Their starters collectively had an ERA about 6, where the bullpen is under 2. Perez at 94 pitches, Carpenter at 106, and activity in the Cardinals bullpen. Here's David Freese with 2 of the 3 hits for the Redbirds. Rely on that home run. You see the highest percentage of total runs scored via the home run, and the Cardinals have scored 45 runs this year. Half of those coming via the home run. Ground ball short. Reyes long throw. And safe at first as Jacobs was off the bag.
Like the throw pulled Jacobs off the bag. They could give that a base hit, or they could do E6. Hometown kid. Rolls over there, is in the hole. He's got a strong throwing arm. Didn't get up on top of it, and the ball will sail a little bit when you do that. Yeah, he's off the bag. His toe would come off.
Very close from that angle. They give Freese the hit, so first career 3-hit game for David Freese. Here's Mather, and you know that Holiday is lurking. Mather gets the bunt down. Barajas has to go to first. And covering is Castillo, and Freese is in scoring position. So sacrifice good. Here's Brendan Ryan. Sacrifice goes 2-4 in the play. Brendan Ryan was intentionally walked into second and grounded out to third in the 5th. And no one has moved to the on-deck circle yet for the Cardinals.
I was watching the play, but then I saw that Oliver Perez was laying on the ground. Watch him trying to stand there, and it looked like his legs went out from underneath him, may have twisted an ankle a little bit. He says he's okay, but they were checking on him. Now Jerry Manuel come out. He's got a lefty and a righty warming up. The lefty is Raul Valdez and Fernando Nieves. Nieves is the right-hander, and it's like we're going to see Nieves.
Just what the Mets needed. Oliver Perez gives them a very good outing, and there's Holiday. He has moved to the on-deck circle. 1-0 New York. From the roots up. Hurry in to get your free Scott's MLB Fan Guide exclusively at Lowe's. Along with Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. It's our Chevy call to the bullpen. Fernando Nieve, 6 foot, 215-pounder, a right-hander from Venezuela. I remember what he did against the Cardinals as a starter last year. You see what he's done as a reliever so far this year. Back on June 24th, and he went to spring training with the Astros last year, then claimed off of waivers by the Mets. He was thrust into their rotation, and on June 24th, he went 6 shutout innings against the Cardinals.
Oh, he was quite impressive in that game. Now Schumacher will pinch hit for Brendan Ryan. You got Holiday on deck. Keep Felipe. He will move from second base to shortstop, and Shu goes in to play second sack. Defensively, big gap out into, pull the ball down the right field line or out into right center. Play him to hit to the opposite field. Then put a slow breaking ball down and in.
And I can tell in the tone of your voice, you probably don't understand that pitch if you're shading him to the opposite field.
Yeah, you're playing defensively one way and pitching him the opposite.
Tied him up there, 0-2. A lot of times early in the season, even if a guy is struggling like Brendan Ryan has been, Tony La Russa will still stick with him as a confidence builder, but he's got the righty-lefty matchup here.
I saw the catcher set up outside, and the ball was just perfect place down and in.
Hit out of play. But you stick with a guy like Ryan just to give him a jolt of confidence, like Emmanuel was doing there with Perez.
Yeah, I think that's fine, but I think right now Tony can do those words of confidence verbally. Right now he's trying to win this ball game, and Brendan Ryan understands this scenario, bringing in a 300 hitter to replace a struggling bat.
Just got a piece. Brendan tonight was intentionally walked and then grounded out.
And Dan, the reality is, even as well as Brendan Ryan played last season, Gold Glove caliber shortstop, hit 290. We thought there would be no sophomore slump, but the reality is he's still a very young player that hasn't put back-to-back years together. And so, you can't always assume he's going to have the same type of year.
And that hits Schumacher.
Give Schu a little credit just staying in there and letting it hit him.
And now Holiday, chance to do some damage as that one caught, it looked like the foot of Skip Schumacher.
Well, watch, he really doesn't move much at all. It's a breaking ball. And watch that back foot. And I think it may have bounced a little bit before it hit that toe, but getting hit on the toe doesn't help.
So one of the biggest at-bats of the night right here in the 7th. Runners at first and second, one out. Here's a very dangerous Matt Holliday.
A lot of times when you're not feeling well, you go up there and your eyes are blurry, but everything is so slowed down for you. You just absolutely relax. You don't try and do too much. You just don't feel good. And I've seen a lot of guys that don't feel well that come up with big hits.
He's 3 for 14 as a pinch hitter. Not in the starting lineup tonight, feeling a little bit under the weather, but used now as a pinch hitter. The 0-1. Make it 0-2.
As you can see, if he's 3 for 14 as a pinch hitter, and about, gets about 2 pinch hit at bats a year.
Right. Trying to get Carpenter off the hook on earned run that he gave up.
Well, let's hopefully give him a victory. Make him the pitcher of record on the good side.
Nieve has gone right after Holiday with a couple of fastballs.
And that's the one theory, is you've been sitting on the bench, and in his case, laying down on the training room table, pump the fastballs. See the catcher wanting to go up. of these fastballs, 93, 94, and looks sneaky fast on top of it.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Good job to stay away from that pitch.
Absolutely right. Good breaking ball off the plate. That's a sucker pitch. Get you to expand your zone and get yourself out.
Full count.
We've seen Holiday hit a lot of balls out there to right center too. They're shading him to pull a little bit in the outfield. Crowd is really into it right now.
And he walked him. Bases loaded. They're falling behind 0-2. He earns the walk. And here's Felipe Lopez. David Freese started the inning with a base hit. Was advanced by Mather on a sacrifice. Schumacher, a pinch hitter for Brendan Ryan, was hit by a pitch and now walked to Holiday. Bases loaded. And there are 3 lefties that he has in that bullpen, and there's Raul Valdez that will come in for New York. In any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Chevy called to the bullpen. Valdez is in, and he will face the switch-hitting Lopez. Numbers on Valdez this season: 3 games, and opponents only hitting 167 against him, but the value of a guy like Lopez, he's a switch hitter, so he can turn around.
Yeah, Felipe 1 for 5 from the right side this year, and that one hit was a double. Valdez, 5 scoreless innings since making his major league debut on April 11th at Washington.
Inning started with a single by Freese. Schumacher was hit by a pitch, walked to Matt Holliday, and there's only 1 out. Cardinals down by a run here at the bottom of the 7th. Lopez has doubled. He struck out in the 3rd and walked in the 5th. Trying now to get a win for Carpenter, much less tie it up. First pitch to Felipe.
Foul ball. Says Valdez went to spring training with the Mets on loan from Tabasco, or the Mexican League. I believe he's from the Dominican, as he pitched in the Caribbean World Series with Escogido. That's a Dominican team.
Gap into left center. Taken high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Uptime is called by Barajas. Opponents hit .281 against the Mets when New York was on the road a year ago, the highest in the major leagues. The Cardinals tonight have 4 base hits. That's it. Outfield very deep in the gap in left center. Alan Craig is on deck. And then we would see Pujols. 2-1.
I was just hoping for a chance this inning.
Off-speed pitch, lifted into deep left field. Bay is back. Grand slam! Grand slam! Felipe Lopez!
Carpenter's a little happier.
40,000 are too. This is hit down the right field line. Slicing. And just foul off the bat of Alan Craig. 387 feet the distance of this home run.
They see the ball's elevated. It's up there. Switch hitter. He's always going to be, his natural side's going to be the right side. They're usually a little bit stronger, more power from that side. But they started switch hitting to take advantage of their running speed, get him a step closer from the left-handed, and he got a pitch, and Felipe already his 6th career grand slam.
Up and into Craig with Pujols on deck. 4-1 Cardinals now here in the 7th.
And like we said earlier, this team dependent on the long ball.
Well, there's nothing like it. A packed house here at Busch Stadium, the crowd's reaction, and a home run. Dramatic moment early in the season.
Here, warming up.
That's the guy that they really like. Made the club out of spring. 3-2. Now there's some smiles in that dugout. Still only 5 hits for the Cardinals, but 1 big blast. And Craig strikes out. It brings in Albert Pujols. Let's go pitch by pitch in the at-bat for Felipe Lopez, presented by Chevy.
There, breaking ball coming in on his hands, fouls it off, fastball upstairs, kind of took off on him, there was a slider. And there, the hanging breaking ball. Up in his eyes, and for a grand slam. And here's Albert.
Pujols tonight twice has grounded out to third, and he struck out. Saw his reaction on the grand slam. Average has dipped to 368. You say dipped.
Yeah. Albert is such a good teammate that I think he gets a bigger kick out of his teammates hitting home runs than he does himself, because he expects himself to hit them.
Do you remember that shot we had at the Old Busch Stadium with John Rodriguez? And Pujols was in the dugout.
Yeah.
And J-Rod had a bat, and he took the bat from him and said, "You're not going to need this." And I believe it wound up being a grand slam by David Eckstein in one of the great shots and moments that we were able to catch a few years ago at the Old Busch.
Sometimes you get a feel for the game that way. I think it shocked J-Rod, who, by the way, is playing in Mexico now.
Look at this one. Left field. Home run distance, but foul.
We knew when Felipe signed there was going to be a big addition to this ball club. His ability to move around and play all different positions.
One-two pitch. Jams Pujols. Right is there, and he has it, but the Cardinals behind Lopez and his grand slam have their first lead of the night. Grand slam at our Hardee's prime cut of the game. A lot of changes for the Cardinals now. And this 4-1 lead as we move to the 8th. Felipe Lopez will move from second to short. There's Colby Rasmus now. He'll take over in center field. Skip Schumacher stays in the game at second base. And a new pitcher is Blake Hawksworth. So once again, as we started the telecast with the home runs that are hit and how important it is for the Cardinals, another one important tonight. Percentage of runs scored via the home run. And here's Hawksworth.
Now you got to have it hold up. And Carpenter's pitcher record.
Blake Hawksworth was so good down the stretch last year for the Cardinals in regular season play. Made the club out of spring training. And he'll get the switch hitter, Jose Reyes. Reyes is 0 for 3. 2 fastballs right at him, nothing in 2.
Hawksworth ended up 4-0, ERA at 2. And the only one disaster he had was in his major league debut. He was, like you said, was very good down the stretch.
And really caught the eyes of the Cardinals with what he was doing in the minor leagues. He got the call up out of necessity, and then also out of necessity had to go 3 innings against the Dodgers in that 14-inning game. And his pitching kept the Cardinals alive in a game that they eventually won. Good pitch. Bottom fell out of that pitch. Saturday, April 17th. All fans 15 and under receive a collectible Cardinals pennant. That'll be tomorrow. Gold Glove Award winners Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright, courtesy of Coca-Cola and the Pasta House. And if you'd like to find out more, tickets still available at Cardinals.com. Kids 15 and under also get a free ticket, and you can run the bases after the game.
And Sunday, you've got the Kids Holiday T-shirt, right?
That's right. Free ticket available there as well. Little high to Castillo. Carpenter is in line for the victory. Chris Carpenter strikes out 10 in his 7 innings of work. That's slapped the other way. He's made a living out of that.
Yeah, slap hitter, and it's amazing sometimes how he stays in the batter's box when he makes contact because he's running, utilizing his greatest asset.
He lined back to Carpenter in the 5th, rounded out to Pujols, and popped out to short. Now, this time last year, it'd be a situation where Tony La Russa and all of us were a little bit unsure about Schumacher's defense late in games, and that after a short while became a non-factor and a non-issue. And now it became a situation, and it has become a situation where even late last season and this year, the Cardinals feel comfortable putting him out there at any point in time.
Well, defense.
Right, well, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, he pinch hit, but stays in the game to play defense. And
the point being, you don't worry about him.
Sure.
3-1 pitch, right down the middle.
And Hawksworth keeps the ball down. And he's got a good fastball, 93, 94 miles an hour. He's got a very good changeup, breaking ball. The whole key is keeping down, and when he does that, he gets he's very effective.
3-2. We'll do it again. David Wright on deck.
Now with Castillo, you don't mind elevating the ball if you can get him to swing, because if he hits the ball in the air, it's going to come down in the fielder's glove.
40,101 tonight.
So you don't mind just challenge him with fastballs.
Base hit.
That's what he wants to do, is right there. So he really rather elevate the ball. And a slap hitter out there, you've got to throw a strike. Look at the sinking action. So nothing wrong with that. It's a ground ball. It just finds a hole. And you really can't fault Hawksworth on that.
The Cardinals, statistically, 5th best in the National League with their 2.89 ERA from their bullpen and no blown saves along the way. Here's David Wright. Wright smokes it into right center field. That's trouble. Castillo around second. On his way to third. He'll be held up, and that will bring the tying run to the plate. Very good job by Rasmus to cut that off before it went to the wall. And the tying run and power, Jason Bay, comes to the plate.
Well, it's never easy. Tony now will get that bullpen active. No one warming up. You got Jacobs, a left-hander, so they'll come out and they'll stall long enough. Reyes will get warmed up along with McClellan. Dave Duncan out here to talk to Hawksworth.
And with this time, you also allow your bullpen maybe a minute or so extra to try to get loose and get loose in a hurry.
Both the guys out there get rid very quickly.
Just thinking that,
so
especially
it's not an issue.
You know, a guy like Reyes, if you've got to bring him in to face Jacobs, he's a few throws and ready to roll.
You know, the mindset of a reliever is you watch the flow of the game, you kind of You get your adrenaline going, but you almost have the mindset that you can walk in from the bullpen if called upon without throwing any pitches. Now, that'll never happen. You'll get enough down there, and you got your 8 warm-up pitches to go be ready.
Here's Jason Bay. Off-speed pitch, taken low, 1-0. Bay tonight. A single, strikeout called on strikes back in the third and flied out to right. Second and third and 1 out.
Talked about earlier how you don't come through in these situations, and they really bunch the Cardinal outfielders bunched together, given both lines.
Here's a 1-1. Foul ball.
You're a big free agent acquisition. You're playing in New York. You don't come through in these situations, they can make it pretty tough on you.
Folks that didn't see it on our pregame show, great segment with Jack Clark and Darryl Strawberry talking about the 80s rivalry between these two clubs. Darryl could tell you all about the pressures of playing in New York, now living in the St. Louis area. Two and two.
You know, you can't be happier about Darryl Strawberry, how he's turned his life around and how involved he's gotten in the community, doing a lot of charitable work and also doing a little broadcasting for the Mets.
That's right. Time call by Molina.
Probably not a bad idea. You know, Molina come out here in such a crucial situation. Make sure you're on the same page.
What would be that pitch for you right here? What do you think you should go with?
Against Bay, I'm not afraid for him to throw his fastball as long as he spots it. But I really like his changeup.
Saw that on the strikeout of Reyes. Really good changeup.
And you know, it's a pitch that he rolls over, and you know, if he keeps it down, he does a good job doing that. You get a ground ball if he does hit it. Good chance he'll swing through it. Fastball in.
Tied him up and a strikeout. Big strikeout for Blake Hawksworth. And his second in the inning.
See, the last second when Molina jumped inside, I knew it was going to be a fastball. And that was the spot in there. He checked his swing and went around and got that big strikeout. Now with the power hitter Jacobs up, we'll go to Reyes. Nice job for Blake.
Denny's Reyes coming in with 2 outs here in the 8th. Denny's Reyes picked up his first win about a week ago, and that was his first win in 97 outings. He had to go back to his time in Minnesota to find that. And Fernando Tatis will be the pinch hitter for Jacobs. We had a shot at Dave Duncan when Hawksworth was on the mound. He was racing toward the camera well to the left of Tony La Russa. It may have been that he was just trying to see if Hawksworth was tipping anything or maybe looking at the balance on the mound, trying to pick up something with his young right-hander out of the bullpen. So here's Tatis. Four for 18 this season. Saw him playing the outfield for the Mets. Third base, first base.
He's been a good hitter against the Cardinals. 339 against the Redbirds. 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. On this road trip, 1 for 7. He's got some big hits the last few years for the Mets.
A couple of years ago, he had a game-tying home run against the Cardinals that the Mets eventually won at Chase Stadium in extra innings. Here's a 1-1. 1-2.
34 miles an hour, but the location was very good. Up and in, tied him up.
Two balls, two strikes. A bit low.
Groan from the crowd. Watch this one. Is set up right there, and says by Fox Tracks that it's a strike. You saw Molina pull it up, but our cameras do not lie.
Hard hit, and Freese got it. David Freese takes the extra base hit and 2 RBIs away from Tatis. His first 3-hit night, and comes up with a defensive gem that sends us to the bottom of the 8th. Felipe Lopez, the grand slam. That's been the difference in the game. It's 4-1 as we move to the bottom of the 8th here in St. Louis and Busch Stadium. Mejia's the new pitcher for the Mets. And Fernando Tatis stays in the ball game to play first.
This young man is the youngest. He's the youngest player in the major leagues and the youngest pitcher to make the Mets opening day roster since Dwight Gooden back in 1984. He's 20 years of age. Will be 20 all season long.
Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. The sure sign of a good time. Here we go. By AT&T Uverse, a better TV experience. Visit AT&T.com for details. And by Bank of America, Cardinals banking only at Bank of America.
He is listed as 6 foot, but he looks a little heavier than his 162.
See, this guy is nasty.
He's only 20 years of age. He last year pitched an A ball and double A. Must be a hard thrower.
Well, he is a hard thrower, and they say he's got a very good slider, Al. And it was a big point of discussion for the Mets whether or not a 20-year-old should make their roster. And not only make their roster, but a lot of people looked at him and said, this could be the 8th inning guy for us to get us to K-Rod. He's 0-1, and this is his 6th appearance of the year.
He was unscored upon in 3 of his first 5 appearances. And that one loss he suffered when he allowed a walk-off home run to Chris Iannetta.
It's interesting how some people look at it. You say, well, it's a pressurized 8th inning, but here in the big leagues, every inning for a 20-year-old is going to feel like pressure, and if he's good enough to be here, bring him up. They need help in that area.
Here's the issue. There's your breaking ball and strikeout. You know, the issue is if you could guarantee that he has 10 good outings, build a little confidence.
You do it.
You feel like you've been wrong. But what you really worry about is he goes out there and gets blown out, in 3 or 4 of them and loses confidence. And when you send him down, he never regains it.
He gets Ludwig looking, and now here is Molina. Yadier lined out to center, flied out to right, and struck out. He is 0 for 3. That pitch in our gun at 96. You throw a 96 with a really good slider, and you can spot it, which they say he can.
Yeah.
And watch how free and easy he is with his motion. It's pretty free and easy, and you're hitting mid-90s.
Yeah, you just, it's a very simplified motion, not much wasted momentum or nothing really. Everything's pretty much compact and moving towards home plate.
One to 1 the count, 1 out, and nobody on. Ryan Franklin has been getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen, and Franklin had a 6-pitch save a couple of nights ago.
He's also 3 for 3 in save opportunities. So
mentioned in his interview with Jim Hayes that they had detected a flaw. He's corrected that, and he looks much better.
Defensive swing.
Starters, relievers, and the difference tonight coming into this game, the starters had struggled, but Perez was very good. The bullpen, 1.95 ERA, but Cardinals were able to get to him last inning. Felipe Lopez, the grand slam. Cardinals lead it 4-1. And lost in this game to an extent. And the heroics right now of Lopez, the night for David Freese. 3 for 3, good defensive play.
And that play saves this game from probably would have been 4-3 when runner obviously in scoring position. That ball got by David.
And a 2-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Serves it into right field for the base hit. The Cardinals campout presented by Bass Pro Shops, and Tracker Boats is back on Friday, May 7th. Cardinals take on the Pirates. Come spend a night on the field and under the stars at Busch Stadium. 345-9500 to find out more at cardinals.com/campout. And we also forget about the 10 strikeouts put together by Carpenter, the starter for the Redbirds. David Freese with a double in the second and 2 singles, one in the fourth and another in the seventh. 3 for 3 tonight.
Got his average up to 379 currently.
You watch him in batting practice, and we mentioned this before, but the ball does jump off his bat, especially when he goes to right center.
Must hit at every level, showing power.
He's a lot bigger than you think, too, upper body-wise. Right down the middle at 93 for strike one. Pujols getting his first look at Mejia. Talk about baseball IQ, and his is off the charts.
He works at it.
Mentioned earlier how Albert is always watching and trying to pick up little things from the opposition, but also rooting for his teammates in a night that Albert Pujols is 0 for 3 with a strikeout and a walk, and his reaction was like a fan. The grand slam by Lopez. 1-2 the count. Here it is.
How many times he'll be on that top step? He's signaling home run before the umpires. He wants to win, and you need a little help at times from your teammates.
And a called third strike on Freese, and he knew it.
It's that off-speed pitch. You know, they struck out both Ludwig and Freese is both that off-speed pitch.
Here's Joe Mather. Mather robbed back in the second inning, but David Wright also grounded out to him in the fourth and sacrificed in the seventh. Runner at first is Molina. He'll have a short lead there. 2 outs. The Mets will have Francoeur, Barajas, and Gary Matthews Jr. coming up and looking ahead to the ninth. We got Henry Blanco on their bench, switch hitter Angel Pagan, and Alex Cora and Frank Catalanato from the left side. Big crowd tonight, over 40,000. And seats still available at Cardinals.com for Saturday. The Fox Saturday game at 3. And then Sunday night baseball with the Mets.
And off on the road to Arizona and San Francisco.
On a hop to the second baseman. Jeff Francoeur leads it off when we come back. St. Louis 4, New York 1.
Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Cardinals Live, Pat Paris and Rick Horton are over at Lumiere Place. They'll look at Felipe's big blast. They'll have analysis of Carp's killer curve. And, of course, it's Friday night. That means somebody is going home with a hungo. It's all coming up after the game. For now, it's back to the booth and Dan and Al, guys.
Okay, Jim, thanks. Here's Ryan Franklin. He's into the ball game. It's 4-1 St. Louis leading the Mets. And, Jim, we mentioned earlier you had a post-game visit with Ryan Franklin the other night following his third save, and he talked about a mechanical flaw that he has corrected, and maybe you can enlighten our viewers as to what he has found out.
Yeah, after his first outing of the season on the road, they just looked at the tape and they noticed the angle at which he was delivering the ball wasn't the same as it was last year. He said it was a minor adjustment, but it did affect his release point, and he feels since they've corrected that, he's got better control. We saw a 6-pitch save the other night.
Yeah, Jim, and Al, you could see where, you know, if you don't get on top of it and you're not behind it, your pitches will flatten out. You don't have the kind of movement or control.
That's it, Dan. Exactly right. You know, relying on your control, you're relying on that downward movement, and if you're not staying on top, don't have that proper angle, then you as you said, the ball flattens out. You don't have the movement. And Ryan Franklin is one of these closers, depends on location.
And that's a base hit on a pitch right down the middle to Francoeur. And he has a 2-hit night. He also walked, so on base for the third time. So taking a look ahead at the Cardinals' schedule, Garcia going tomorrow. Wainwright on Sunday. We'll see Brad Penny in Arizona. And we'll have 3 games at Arizona, 3 with San Francisco, and then back home with the Braves and Cincinnati.
Look at those ERAs. 4-0, 150, 120, and .84. Or 6-4? 6-4.
And Carpenter tonight goes 7 innings. He strikes out 10, and the run that was allowed was unearned. Starter's ERA is under 3. You'd take that all year, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. Right now, you got to close this game out, and you feel very comfortable on this weekend. Cardinals have won the first 3 series, winning the first 2 games and then dropping the third. And the Mets have lost all 3 series they've played in. With a 3-6 record.
Rajas has lined back to Carpenter at that time in the 4th after singling his first time up. That was a double play and then flied out to left.
It's an out.
Stay in the ballpark. Mather is there to make the catch. Francoeur back to first. Felipe Lopez, the big hit in this game, his grand slam. He's 2 for 3 with a grand slam, a double and a walk. He started out at second base. He's at short now. And he's our Budweiser player of the game.
Last 3 games, he's started at third, short, and second. Tony's trying to get his bat going and give guys a little bit of rest.
And with a lefty up, Pujols will play behind Francoeur. Matthews Jr. jumps on the pitch and hits it out to deep right. It's his first hit in 18 career at-bats against Ryan Franklin. And his first hit tonight, he had struck out the 3 previous times, and the tying run comes to the plate.
Dave Duncan didn't like what he saw here. Let's see with this ball. Just up right over the middle of the plate. Anything they want that ball in. You know, Franklin is so dependent on location. So when he misses, misses location, it's usually going to be hit a lot harder than others, but he's got so many pitches he can get you out.
We've seen a lot of teams, and we've seen it here.
Francoeur got the first pitch.
First pitch, they'll go after him because they know he's going to be around the plate.
Well, you go up there and you're ready, and you know certain guys, that especially hard throwers, guys with a lot of movement, guy will go up there and kind of look. You want to see what that ball looks like. This is Catalanato, and look at his numbers against Ryan Franklin. But a guy like Franklin, you go up there ready to swing because he's going to probably try and get ahead of you, and it's going to be a hittable pitch.
Little bloop out to left. That's a base hit. Matthews will stop at third. Throw in by Mather. That cuts the lead to 4-2. Things getting a little uneasy now. That's 3 base hits, pair of singles and a double. And now it turns it over to the top of the lineup and Jose Reyes. Don't overlook him. He's got a little power in his bat, too.
Well, it's a breaking ball right there, but it's kind of, it's got that arc in there. And now a pinch runner.
I believe that's Pagan. And it is.
Yes.
They're left now on their bench with Cora and Blanco. McClellan is up for the second time. And that's Trevor Miller. A guy like Reyes hitting from this side of the plate, very tough to double up. He's got to hit it hard.
Very little spring training. Remember, we got cleared to play late March.
Here's a ground ball left side. Lopez across the diamond. Got him.
You're lucky to get one right there.
Ooh.
Nice play by Felipe.
Base hit could tie it up. Matthews scores to make it 4-3.
And look at that approach. Look at where he was so far inside the line. He had to change his direction. And that slowed him up, or otherwise he would have been out. Or been safe. Excuse me.
So 2 outs, tying run at second base. Here's Castillo. Single to left his last time up. He's also lined out, grounded out, and popped out.
Well, look how shallow the outfielders are playing because you got a guy at the plate with very little power. Tremendous speed, but very little power.
That's as shallow as we've seen them all this year.
And, a lot of times tonight we've seen, and particularly when Castillo got his base hit in the 8th inning, he slapped the ball the opposite field. The ball was down. There, you can elevate the ball on him, try and get him to hit the ball in the air because He doesn't have the power to hit it out, but they are very shallow, so that's a little costly too. Or you got to be careful that they didn't hit a 300-foot fly ball over your head.
Running out of the box and a foul ball.
That's how he swings. Now you got him 0-2. You're a veteran closer. You should not allow him to have he could have not really hit the ball hard on you. He could get a squirter, a little fluke hit, but he shouldn't hit the ball hard when you got an 0-2 and a slap hitter.
Castillo, ground ball to short. Lopez there. Cardinals win it. They hold on 4-3 and pick up the 7th win of the year. They're now 7-3, and rightfully so. The game ends with Lopez making the final play.
Good ball game, partner.
It sure was. One swing of the bat, a difference in this game. Felipe Lopez. He's done it before. His first RBIs and first home run, though, this season. A grand slam.